You're now live and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Welcome to the Board of Elections and Registration Board meeting, May 12th, 5 o'clock p.m. that we're calling the meeting to order. Before we start, as a reminder, board members and staff, please mute yourselves if you're not speaking. And with that, may I have an approval of the agenda, a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, seeing all hands raised, the agenda is approved. Next, we'll have citizen comments. Hearing none, we will now move into the approval of minutes for April 14th, and which was the monthly board meeting, and also the approval of the minutes for April 29th, which was a special call meeting. May I have a motion to approve both?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve our minutes from the April 14th meeting and also our April 29th meeting.
Okay, thank you. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Seeing all hands raised, the approval of minutes for both April 14th and 29th has been approved. Next, we'll have an update regarding public hearings.
I mailed out 16 felon letters and 9 was returned. And these were the notices that were mailed out for that had not returned in time, that were mailed out for the time for the April board meeting. So for the May board meeting, we have none as of now.
Madam Chair, point of clarification, please.
Okay.
We do have a citizen that did sign up for citizen comments. To the citizens that signed up for citizen comments, we do have a 3-minute comment frame on commenting. We do ask also that after you finish your comments, you turn off your camera. Sorry, can everyone please mute their mic?
Thank you, Director King.
But to the citizens that are commenting, we do ask once you finish your comments, you can stay in the meeting, but please turn off the camera after speaking. Madam Chair.
Who are the citizens that are going to make a comment?
We have Ms. Ingrid Landis Davis that signed up for citizen comment.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Landis Davis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
I want to thank each and every member of the Board of Elections and the staff for your services to our community and the election process. It is the opinion of many in Douglas County that the reprimand and statements that the judge from the 7th Circuit Court in Rome was politically motivated and unfounded. As a past member of this board, it has always been, I know that it has always operated by Robert's Rules of Order. If there is no second motion brought to the floor, the motion fails and there is no vote, just as you proceeded. Why that should be held against this board is clearly evidence of an unsound opinion. One other statement, the Douglas County Democratic Committee is a body that is qualified by the state party, the Democratic State Party, to carry out OCGA 121-2-134 subsection C. Again, I thank you for your service. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, so
Mr. Avala, has anyone else signed up for comments? And can you please send the link for the meeting to the board's attorney, Mr. Aaron Watson, as well?
Sylvia Wafer Baker requested an invitation, never accepted, and has not reached out since.
okay, thank you. So with that, we're going to go back to our agenda items. Ms. Bowen, thank you for your report out on felon hearings. Were there any questions from the board? on that? Okay. So moving forward, we now will have the office operations report.
Office operations report for today will begin with Mr. Filbert Smith. You can begin. You're muted, Filbert.
We began logic and accuracy testing on the 18th of April, 2022. Logic and accuracy testing is testing of the voting equipment to ensure accuracy. This process is performed on equipment during advanced voting process as well as the election day equipment. We are currently in the process of organizing the equipment for election day. We are also availing ourselves to the poll managers should they need a question to address.
The next speaker would be Mr. Unvala.
Logic and accuracy testing was also performed on the equipment used during absentee by mail voting. We submitted notifications and advertisements regarding logic and accuracy testing to the Douglas County Sentinel as well as citizens on our website. We also offered training for both political parties that were involved in the vote review panels. We began early processing of absentee by mail ballots yesterday at 11 a.m. The opening of ballots was displayed at the courthouse, and early scanning is viewable by the public at the courthouse. We will continue to open and process absentee ballots up through Election Day. I would like to note that the deadline to turn in an application for an absentee by mail ballot is tomorrow, May 13th. As of this meeting, our office has accepted and processed 870 absentee by mail applications.
Great. Director, any additional?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Green.
All right, advanced voting has started at 7 locations. We're currently voting at Deer Lake Park, Dog River Library, the Old Courthouse, Foundry Water Activity Center, the Woody Heights Senior Center, the Lithia Springs Senior Center, as well as the courthouse. Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. And Saturday voting is available this Saturday at Deer Lake Park, Dog River Library, Woody Heights Senior Center, and the courthouse from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have had a robust turnout so far with 4,200 voters casting a ballot so far at those locations. We have been actively recruiting poll workers for Election Day. The final training is on May the 18th, and we are also actively recruiting drivers for delivery of election equipment. That will be all.
This concludes the office operations report at this time.
Thank you. I do have a follow-up for Ms. Green. Ms. Green, how can folks contact you? Is it on the website for those positions you're needing?
Yes. They can contact me directly if they're interested in being a driver at 770-920-7412. At the moment, we don't have an driver's application online, but they will apply using the poll worker application on www.celebratedouglascounty.com. You would go to the services tab, down to departments, then to human resources. And if you scroll under job openings, you will see a poll worker application. You can apply, give me a call, and then we can proceed further.
Okay, great. Thank you for that feedback. Overall, how's it going for early voting so far? Have we had any issues or concerns, Director Kidd?
We have not had any major issues or concerns with the advanced voting process. This is the first time that we are operating 7 advanced voting locations throughout Douglas County because we have one of the most robust advanced voting schedules of any county. I believe that we have spread out the voters, so we're not seeing long lines. I do believe that as we get further into this absentee in-person process, we may begin to process more voters as we get closer to the period of Election Day. But so far, everything is running smoothly.
Great, I'm happy to hear that. Any additional questions from the board?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Bob.
Ms. Green, what time is the, on the 18th, is that training?
We'll have an 8 to noon training and a 1 to 5 training.
Okay, thank you.
And I also want to mention, because I did talk about our hours that were open, the last day for early voting is next week on Friday, May 20th, for the public that needs to know that.
Thank you.
Once again, we will mention the fact that we have this Saturday is the last Saturday voting, and we'll be open from the hours of 9 until 5 on Saturday at 4 locations. Those locations are listed on our website as well under our elections calendar.
Great.
So the question I had, and I just wanted to verify, Ms. Green, I think you mentioned that 4,200 ballots have been cast during
Yes,
early
around
voting.
4,200 voters have voted early, yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I actually have a quick statement and then a question. I just wanted to share that I have been able to join several of the trainings, the LNA testing, and been interacting with quite a few of the team members. And I just wanted to share that I have really appreciated everybody's transparency and openness and accommodations for, showing exactly the process and all the care that goes into everything that you guys do every day. So thank you to Director Kidd and his team for showing me the ropes and making sure that I knew what time to be there and what was going on and everything. So big thank you to everyone for taking the time to do all of that, and the trainers and everybody. They're really top notch. So thank you so much. I did have one question, and I don't know if this is for Director Kidd or somebody on your team. I know that the ballot boxes have been closed down and roped off. Is there a plan in place to remove those? Are we leaving those until there's, a direction on that? What's the plan with those ballot boxes?
The external ballot boxes, there is current pending litigation that the state is involved with that's kind of tied to one of our next agenda items.
Right.
But we were waiting to see what happens with the pending litigation that's tied to those before we go ahead and remove the external boxes, due to the nature of actually having those cemented into the ground, as well as installing camera systems with the external boxes as well. So before we went through the process of removal, we're waiting for a court decision.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for that feedback, Board Member Michelle. So I do agree. We have an awesome team. The Director Kidd and staff is really committed to providing excellent service and ensuring that all are treated fairly and can vote. So I do appreciate your feedback, and thank you all for just everything that you do each day. It's truly appreciated. So with that, we'll move into old business now.
Okay. Old business consists of the following. As previously stated in the earlier meeting, the U.S. Justice Department did ask myself to provide information regarding the impact to the voters of Douglas County of the implementation of Senate Bill 202 to Douglas County voters. They asked for voluntary testimony, to which this board did not vote to motion to have myself give. Therefore, I was issued a subpoena to involuntarily appear and provide testimony. That testimony did occur on, I believe, the 5th of this month in the offices of the county attorney, who a member of his staff, Ms. Leslie Suzanne, was present as well. This was a subpoena that was issued to myself to testify as to the impact of this particular legislation. I would like to add that Douglas County is not named as a party in this litigation. We were only offering documentation as to the electoral process as it has been conducted in Douglas County. This concludes old business unless there are any further questions.
Any questions? Okay, hearing none, thank you for your transparency and sharing that information. Director Kidd. Next, we'll go into new business. So what I see here on the agenda are two things, and then I'll pass it to Director Kidd. One is an ethics complaint from Ingrid Landis Davis in the Douglas Democrats against Judge Susan S. Camp. And then the second is a challenge of Elector Scott K. Camp to the qualification of Ryan C. Williams to seek and hold the office of Chief Magistrate Judge of Douglas County. Director Kidd, can you start with Ms. Landis Davis' complaint?
I will ask, we'll start with asking Mr. Unvala to read the complaint.
So this was delivered to our office on the 2nd of May. It reads, County Board of Elections regarding the challenge that she filed against attorney Sylvia Wafer Baker. To my chagrin, I noted that most of the requests came from a county employee, Karen Ewing, who is a magistrate court judicial assistant. To my knowledge, it is against regulations for a taxpayer-funded government employee to provide electioneering services to an elected public official during work hours and using county equipment. After reviewing the trove of emails sent to the Board of Elections by Karen Ewing on behalf of Judge Susan Camp, it provides a clear pattern of violations of the use of a county employee's business hours time for the purpose of getting reelected and electioneering. See highlighted times and dates of correspondences on pages 6, 7, 8, etc. Also, during the virtual Board of Election and Registration challenge hearing on March 29, 2022, Judge Susan Camp and Attorney Scott Camp appear to be in county courthouse offices and engaging court staff to assist with the procedures. Therefore, we are logging this complaint with the Office of the Board of Elections and Registration against Chief Magistrate Judge incumbent Susan Camp for violations of ethics by the improper use of county court staff and facilities. We request that the Board of Elections and Registration refer this matter to the Georgia Transparency and Campaign Finance Commission, formerly known as the State Ethics Commission. Respectfully, Ingrid Landis Davis, Chair.
As to the complaint that was filed with our office, we are not the agency that deals with this type of complaint. So therefore, the office did go through the steps of contacting the Georgia Transparency and Campaign Finance Commission. We spoke with the director of that department, who did ask us to transfer the complaint letter as well as the supporting documentation provided to his office, to which we have complied with that request from this state agency.
Great. Thank you for that, Malcolm and Director Kidd. Any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, may we go into the next, please, the challenge.
Mr. Unvala, do you have the challenge letter?
I do. It's addressed to the board, members of the board, and Mr. Kidd. It reads, it is my understanding that you have listed Ryan Christopher Williams as a candidate in the upcoming primary election for the Democratic Party nomination for Chief Magistrate of Douglas County. If I am wrong and he is not a candidate for such nomination in a primary election being held May 24th, 2022, please notify me of the fact right away. For the reasons listed below, I would like to make a challenge pursuant to OCGA subsection 21-2-6B to the candidacy of Ryan Christopher Williams for Chief Magistrate. I recognize that said code section requires that such a challenge be made within 2 weeks after the deadline for qualifying. Because the deadline for qualifying ended at 12 noon on March 11, 2022, the electors of Douglas County had until March 25th, 2022 to file a challenge to Mr. Williams' candidacy. OCGA subsection 21-2-153C1A. Because he did not qualify for the primary election until April 29th, 2022, the electors of this county have been deprived of their statutory right to challenge his qualification to seek and hold the office which he now seeks. Nonetheless, and out of an abundance of caution, I am hereby notifying you that as an elector of this county, I am hereby making a challenge to the candidacy of Ryan Christopher Williams for the reasons stated below. Additionally, I hereby move and request that you exercise your authority granted by OCGA subsection 21-2-6B to challenge the qualification of Mr. Williams to seek and hold the office of Chief Magistrate Judge of Douglas County. As you know, the Board of Elections and Registration has the right to so challenge the qualifications of any candidate at any time prior to the election of such candidate. OCGA subsection 21-2-6B. As members of the Board of Elections and Registration, you have the legal duty and the sworn obligation to ensure that each election is conducted pursuant to the provisions of the Georgia Election Code. Ensuring that we have a free and fair election is your solemn responsibility, and you can only do so by protecting the voters and the election process from actions which do not comply with the requirements of the law. Mr. Williams is not qualified to seek and hold the office of Chief Magistrate. He is not entitled to be the Democratic Party's nominee in the general election for the office of Chief Magistrate. It is not lawful to have him as a candidate for the Democratic Party nomination, and it is not lawful to place him on the general election ballot as the Democratic Party's nominee for Chief Magistrate because, one, he has not lawfully become a candidate to be the Democrat Party's nominee for the office of Chief Magistrate, as he has never lawfully qualified for such candidacy pursuant to the requirements of the Georgia Election Code, Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia. Without having lawfully qualified, he cannot become the party's nominee and therefore cannot be on the ballot as such. 2, he did not qualify as a candidate for said nomination pursuant to the terms of OCGA subsection 21-2-150 through OCGA subsection 21-2-158, as is required of a person to become a candidate for any given public office. 2, he did not timely pay the qualifying fees for the office he now seeks. I believe that's a typo and it's a 3. 3, he did not timely withdraw as a candidate for the office of Douglas County Superior Court Judge. 4, he cannot be a candidate for both Superior Court Judge and Chief Magistrate Judge in a primary election or special election to be filled at one election or special election. 5, the Democrat Party has failed to lawfully qualify and or certify Mr. Williams as either a candidate for its nomination or as a candidate for the general election. Such action must comply with the Georgia Election Code, and the party has failed to comply with the law in that regard. The Democratic Party and its candidates should be required to comply with the law, just as all other parties and their candidates must do. It is not fair or just to have 2 sets of rules. There must only be 1 set of rules, and those rules should apply the same to everyone. I have attached as Camp Exhibit 1, which consists of 3 pages, which is an open records request I was required to make for the election records referenced therein. The attachment is included with the request. The county's response to the open records request, including the attachments thereto, is attached hereto as Camp Exhibit 2, which consists of 23 pages. These exhibits shall be identified and included as evidence in any hearing the board may have regarding this issue. Additionally, please note below that I have a new email address, which is different from the ones you have previously used. Respectfully submitted, Scott K. Camp.
Okay. In this particular case, after reading the challenger's assertion, I believe the challenger failed to take into account the provisions in OCGA 21-2-134. The code section, this is the code section that deals with the disqualification of a primary candidate for elected office that was qualified by a political party. This code section does allow for a substitute nomination once a party member has been disqualified, as long as the political party makes the assertion of the substitution by 4:30 on the subsequent day following the disqualification notice. The Democratic Party of Douglas County did submit an official letter stating that Ryan Williams was withdrawing his candidacy from the Superior Court in order to accept the Democratic nomination for Chief Magistrate. This information was also presented by the challenger in his own motion of a challenge. Our legal team has informed us that the next course of action for this may be for this board to set an emergency hearing for next week and to send notification to the challenger that his qualifications to run for office are being challenged.
Okay, thank you. And can you clarify this for me, why an emergency hearing will need to be had? And it's based on which point?
21-2-134. We do have our attorney on the call.
Okay.
Thank you, Director Kidd. This is Aaron Watson. I do not have the statute in front of me though at the time.
21-2-134 is the statute that allows a political party to make a substitute nomination, and it gives the time frame and the qualifications by which that has to be followed. I will add that the Democratic Party did turn in the substitute nomination for Mr. Williams on April the 26th, and that the judicial order disqualifying the previous candidate was issued on the exact same day, so they would meet the statutory requirements.
In addition, Madam Chair, the statute that requires a hearing does not appear to have flexibility around it, in that you're not given any discretion about whether to have a hearing when a challenge is made. So that's why we recommend that you have a hearing.
Okay, that I understand. Thank you, Attorney Watson and Director Kidd. Any questions from the board?
Director Kidd.
Yes.
Are you referring to that whole subsection of 121-2-134, or is there a particular subsection?
The entire paragraph deals with the disqualification of a candidate. Because this is a party nomination, you can refer to subsection C.
Okay. Thank you.
For the disqualification and substitution challenge. 21-2-6 is the actual code section that deals with the hearing. So it's two code sections.
Okay. I just want to be sure exactly what you are referring to, which sections.
I'm referring to subsection C for the substitute nomination.
Okay, thank you.
And some further clarification, as presented by the challenger as well with his open records request, we had a meeting on the 29th. We had an emergency hearing accepting the Democratic Party's nomination of Mr. Williams. On that day as well, Mr. Williams did pay the qualifying fee associated with the position. He also filed the required paperwork that's associated with the position as well.
But referring to the April 29th meeting, I asked a specific question. Does that mean he is qualified? And I think Attorney Watson said, no, we're not making that judgment.
We don't qualify candidates. The political parties qualify candidates and transfer that name. The political party in this particular case, in my opinion, and Mr. Watson can attest to this as well, with the time frame laid out in the code section 21-2-134, they did adhere to the code section and turn in all required paperwork and documentation that is addressed in this particular code section.
Okay, I just didn't want it to imply that we were approving his nomination, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And Director Kidd, this is Maurice Hurst. The quick other question I had was the documentation required for him to remove his name from the ballot for the Superior Court position. The Superior Court position was presented also, correct?
Yes, it was, and there is no actual time frame associated with a withdrawal of candidacy.
Okay, thank you.
Great questions. Any additional questions? Okay, so hearing none, so Director Kidd, you and your office will reach out to us to schedule an emergency hearing for next week.
I believe that we should go ahead and set a date for that hearing, to which we can give notification to the general public at this time. That is contingent upon your schedule, Madam Chair. We will follow your lead and set that hearing. If you can provide us with a day. I think that we should do this as early in the week as possible. Due to the fact that going in later into the week, we'll be preparing for Election Day.
Okay, so we're looking for a morning time frame. The earliest I can do it is the 18th at 10 a.m. If we're looking for a evening time frame for next week, I can do it on Monday at 5 o'clock.
I believe a 10 a.m. time frame should work. If the board agrees to that time frame, we can set that up.
Sounds good. Thank you all.
We will issue those letters to the parties requesting their presence at said hearing for 10 a.m. on the 18th.
And Director Kidd, you'll provide the same notice for that meeting that you provide for any of your other meetings to the public?
Yes, that meeting notice will appear on our website after this meeting as well. That we will be holding a special hearing.
Sounds good. Thank you all for that feedback and from Attorney Watson and from Director Kidd and team. So that was very helpful. So we will be ready May 18th at 10 a.m. For the emergency hearing of Ryan C. Williams with a challenge from Elector Scott K. Camp. So please join us next Wednesday, May 18th at 10 a.m. virtually. Next, we'll have, if we're finished, we'll proceed with board member concerns, if there are any at this time. Okay, so hearing none, our next regular board meeting will be held June 9th at 5 p.m., but we will have a special hearing, our emergency hearing, next Wednesday at 10 a.m. If there's nothing else to discuss, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I see a second. So I'm sure there's no discussion over that. So thank you all. Have a great evening and see you soon.
Great.
Take care.